Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of the Church Solutions Podcast. And my name is Phil Thompson.
And I'm Steve Lacy.
This is episode number 362. Pretty sure it is. Something
All
like
right.
that. I don't know. We're in the 360s. So we are cranking away, or we do a podcast once a week normally. And Steve and I are usually your hosts. Sometimes we have guests. Today, we are going to talk about innovative ways. So we're doing a webinar here real soon about this, but we're going to talk about innovative ways ministries are using streaming video. And we've been putting notes together, and I put down 12, and now we're thinking it's 10 or whatever. But we're going to get through this in about a half hour. But before we talk about our topic today, we are running a tremendous potential, a tremendous promotion, which could potentially, so if I can get this right, potentially get your church a $200 donation just for trying us out with streaming video. Steve, do you want to elaborate on this a little bit?
Yes, we only serve the church, our heart is for the church. And so we will make a donation to your church for $200 for creating a free trial and streaming your services during the free trial. We only have a couple of conditions, and that's that you actually are a church, and that you embed the stream on your website, and you have somebody show up for a real service.
You have some people show up. Yeah. So this is for free trials, new customers. And yes. I'm sure there's some people obviously listening to us or watching us here saying, well, we've been streaming with you guys for years. Hey, you're continue to get our best service. We'll do whatever we can to serve you and all that.
And tell your friends that they can get a donation to their church. And then when we donate to their church, you can take half of it. So
no. Oh, from them, you mean, not from us?
Yeah. Okay. You make an arrangement.
All right. Hey, so let's just review this real quick. So for a limited time, we have this offer. So if you want to create a free trial with us, and you stream a couple weekends with it, and there's the fine print is not that fine. There's just a few little things. You'll see it when you go to streamingchurch.tv, and on the webpage, you'll say, what's the wording? Click here to grab your $200 donation or something like that, right?
Yeah, grab your $200 donation to your ministry. Yeah.
Yeah, so just go to streamingchurch.tv and make a free trial. And you'll read the requirements are just, as Steve just said, just a few things here. So we're genuine here. This is not a bait and switch thing. We obviously would love it if you kept streaming with us for years and years, like many of our customers do. But if for some reason you don't like us after streaming, that's okay. We understand. So, all right. So if you need more information on that, just reach out to us. Go to streamingchurch.tv. All right. So shall we talk about what we're going to talk about today?
Yes.
All right.
Ways that innovative ministries are using streaming video. So these are a list of out of the ordinary, I think, things that ministries have found good uses for using streaming. So beyond just their weekend services and the normal stuff that everybody expects.
Yeah. I think there's this idea in some people's heads that like, well, yeah, streaming video, it's great for Sundays. Well, streaming video can do much more for your church and just beyond Sundays. You can go beyond Sundays and use streaming. You got this tool that you're using, hopefully with us, but maybe with other companies. You can do more than just Sundays. So here are some creative ideas that some innovative ministries that we have run across are doing. So let's just jump into it, shall we?
We shall.
All right. So the first one is, and this is, we're talking about beyond Sunday, but I'll contradict myself here. The first one is video breakaways during your service, during your service. So
yes.
You want to explain what that is, Steve?
So what a lot of, churches are made up, church services are made up of a worship time, an announcement time, a message time. Those are kind of the basic elements of it. And some of the things don't apply as much to the online crowd as it would to those that are in the auditorium. So the video breakaway, some churches are doing this. Actually, my church has been doing it for a long time. Actually, Phil kind of pioneered it at our church, is when the announcements are being delivered in the building, up on the front, is the camera breaks away to someone giving announcements that are specific to the online people. So I have a different person doing announcements, and they're different announcements that would be more applicable to to the online crowd.
Right. And you can do this more than just one time. And you could do it at the very beginning of the service. I'm going to sneeze here. The beginning of the service, you can do a breakaway. In the middle of the service, at the end.
Yeah.
Excuse
Actually,
me.
yeah, at our church, we do it one at the beginning and then one towards the end as well. So,
Yeah,
and sometimes even more in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, so depending on what you want to do, I mean, offering maybe specifically to your online crowd. And some of you are listening to this going, well, that's really hard to do. We got to have no, it's not that hard to do. Just get another camera and get a switcher. We had a switcher, an old switcher that we used, and so we would switch away. And at the time, it was me. I would be in a different part of the building monitoring the service, and there would be a camera set up literally on a tripod, and we would adjust the lighting so I looked good, and which is hard to do in my case, but and I would address the people, as you just said, Steve. I would address the online crowd. It really makes things more personal to people listening online or watching online. It makes it more personal, and as you said, you can address specific things and specific announcements. So video breakaways. Something that really is not that hard to do, and it would really add to your streaming online.
Yes. All right. So let's move through our list here. So the next one is, we have one of the ministries that we serve has a school as well as a church, and so what they're doing is they're using the streaming platform for their school announcements. Yeah. So it's been a long time since I was in elementary school, but I guess they do things differently now. Before, it was the principal would get on and say, the lunch today is.
With the PA system, it would crackle and pop, and
and then
welcome everybody. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
You're having peas and meatloaf for lunch today, and
it's different. Times are changing.
Times are changing. So the kids do it, right?
Kids can do announcements. They set up, and look, we're all over the map on this list, so bear with us. But kids can do, they have their own little, almost like their own little newsroom. Their little studio. They have a big table, and there's kids sitting there, and they're reading the news.
It's budding Phil Thompsons in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? People that get experience doing a newscast and going live and talking, telling the story. And kids see it, and kids see it in their classroom. If there's video monitors in their classrooms, and parents can see it too. So parents can log on and watch. So daily announcements. And here's a bonus feature. Some churches have daycare centers, and so actually, a church I went to in Kansas had a daycare center, and you could stream some announcements to your parents and stuff, or you could even have some video going where parents can kind of see what's going on, kind of like a baby monitor, I guess. You could do 24/7 streaming.
You could
of the care center too. Yeah. Anyway, just one of the innovative ways. So next on our list here is remote ministry simulcast, and this is just that's right. What were we calling this thing?
I was just calling streaming to another campus.
Yeah, streaming to another campus, multi-campus streaming.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to not read what we have in front of you.
Yeah, well,
I forgot.
Yeah. So ministry. So again, our church did this. We had another campus, and we streamed the message. We had, in our case, we had a band, our own band at our own specific campus, but we were part of the other church, and so the actual messages came on the big screens inside the smaller campus, and so we streamed it there. So you can stream to other campuses, your other church campuses.
Yes. And this has been around for a long time.
Yeah,
So
it has. Yeah, nothing new about this.
But yeah, but we do have ministries that are doing this today, and
Yep.
it goes with the theme: one church, many locations, so you can kind of make it convenient for people to come to church in different parts of town.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one is 24/7 streaming. 24/7 streaming. So again, you've got streaming. You've got a streaming account. Why not use it if you want to do 24/7? There's Christian programming out there that you can use, that you can license and use. There's Christian music videos. There's things that you can do, and you could stream 24/7.
And probably one of we have a very large ministry that has probably days and months and years worth of content, and they just stream it. So they've recorded everything they've done over the years, and they're streaming pretty much 24/7.
Yeah.
So just an
that's
opportunity to get out there, outside of the weekend services.
Yeah, again, these are things that you can do beyond Sunday morning, and really get the use out of streaming. All right, let's book here because we've got a few that we want to get through. Another idea would be online learning classes. You could actually stream. Your leaders could stream some classes for people to watch to grow in their faith.
Yeah, actually, this one is our example is limited to the Roku and Apple TV devices. So this ministry has a kind of a training set of content training material for their congregation for people within their system, and they can sign up for a class, go to their Roku or Apple TV and log in, and it'll recognize who they are and say, oh, you're in volume 2 of this lesson track. And so it shows up on the Roku, and they can manage all the content that's available for each student and do some very customized training using the television through Roku and Apple TV.
Yeah, streaming to those devices. Yeah. All right. Let's go to small group and leadership training. You combine these two. I say they're separate, but you can combine them. Small group. I was doing this years ago. You could have your small groups online. This became kind of more popular again during the COVID deal, and still is to some degree. And there's a couple ways you can do this. If you wanted to use something like Zoom, Zoom has a feature that you can use that you can send it to a custom RTMP, which is the protocol that we use to stream to your website. So you could actually use Zoom and stream the content to your own church website. And so you get multiple people on Zoom, and then there's some other people that don't want to be on Zoom, but still want to be at least a part of what they're seeing or being a part of something. Even if they don't want to interact on Zoom, they could watch it on the website. Right. So they're not just limited. When we were streaming during the pandemic, my church, we had people that I don't want to be on Zoom, but I want to hear the message and all this stuff. So we use Zoom and let some people participate, but we also sent it to our own website. So the people that didn't want to be on Zoom, they could watch it online on the website, and they were happy. Yeah. Everybody was happy. So
this is just kind of along the theme of the online classes. The previous one was they had recorded material that they had people watch, and then they would do tests and things like that. Outside of that, this is more of the geared for the Zoom kind of thing, where people are participating and asking questions in their face and voice and stuff, or
a little more interactive stuff.
Yeah.
And you can specifically drill this down to leadership stuff too. So if you want to work with people that actually want to go to a higher level, so to speak, I don't know if I want to use the word higher level, but they want to go to the level of, hey, I feel like God's calling me to leadership. You could do leadership training classes, streaming on that. So there you go. All right. Number 7, I'm just going to keep moving here, right?
Go for it.
So we mentioned online small groups. There can also be something a little more specific. It's still in a small group structure here, but there can be affinity groups. You can have affinity group meetings online. It can be, whatever your affinity is, you could, if you have some specific topic that people are dealing with, maybe addiction issues, maybe issues that are a little more private. You could password protect some things, and you could talk about some more sensitive things, affinity group kind of deals, or it could be just something like underwater basket weaving, something very innocent. Hey, I want to take a class in underwater basket weaving. This is my affinity group.
Yeah.
All right. Number 8.
Number 8,
Sunday
Sunday.
sermon. Go ahead.
Go. Sunday sermon follow-up. So this is,
yeah.
go for it. Explain it to me, because
all
I
I'm
asked you
saying
about it
is,
earlier.
okay, so all I'm saying is, if you're a pastor, leader, and you give a message Sunday morning, okay, it's good if you can to follow up on that during the week a little bit. And so you would maybe do a short little follow-up, maybe a 15-minute, maybe a 30-minute deal, I don't know, where you kind of go a little deeper in your message with maybe some specific things to encourage people to take, even some deeper steps.
Right.
Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not just throw the message out there and forget about it, but it's like, okay, we talked about this Sunday morning. What's going on this week with you? How are you applying this to your week? What kind of challenges have you run into? It's a follow-up.
Yeah. And at our church, we've done that through some just emailed snippets as well, right? With just video snippets that were very short.
Yeah.
Just saying, hey,
but
go ahead.
Yeah, well, but you could stream it too. You could stream it live, or you could stream it pre-recorded too. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of tools, which over the years we've covered a lot of this stuff. But this is something where it's a stream. It's either live or it's a video stream. Which brings me to something that I didn't put in this list, but there is also what we call simulated live that you could use. So simulated live is something where you've got something that's pre-recorded, maybe a message Sunday morning that you did, but you're going to run it again during the week, maybe Sunday night, maybe Wednesday night.
Yeah. And again, referring back to my own church, we had a group out of Africa that got associated with our church. And so they would take the Sunday service and play it so that it was going to be on, I think, a Wednesday evening there, but it was broadcast as though it was live. So, but the broadcast time here in the US was early in the morning, but it was actually late at night in Africa, where it was, it was their 7 p.m. Wednesday service, and they would just gather around and watch the stream from the prior weekend. Broadcast as live, and they would have hosts in the chat room and monitor and manage all that simulcast without having to put together a worship band or preparing another message or getting volunteers to command the church for the service. And
we have churches that work with our company that do simulated live. I don't know which one's off the top of my head. I know that it was really popular during the pandemic. Because the nice thing about simulated live is that if you've got something that you've recorded, you don't have to be at the live encoder to hit start. You can schedule it and just walk away. You don't have to be at the facility to stream it. You don't have to be anywhere other than just schedule it, and it will stream automatically. It's simulated live, so it's a video, but it appears to be live to people. And it's a great tool that you can use. So again, something you can use that's innovative, that you can take things into the next level with your streaming video.
All right, then the next one on your list is something that a lot of people are doing, right? And that's just multi-stream your church services to social media platforms. So send it out to your website and send it off to Facebook and YouTube and other places like that.
Yeah, it's social streaming, and again, we have the ability to do that with our company. But you can stream to your website. We really recommend streaming to your website. And if you want to go to those other things like YouTube and Facebook, there's pros and cons to it. But you can certainly do that. And there are people out there on social media. So, you can potentially reach more people and do some things with it. So MultiStream. So to social media platforms. All right, next one.
What is the next one? Tell me about it.
Announcements. and messages from pastors and staff. So we kind of have, I think we've got somebody doing this on My Church Daily, but it would be good to have a time where people can hear announcements during the week, maybe things that are coming up soon. Sunday morning you make announcements, but sometimes it just kind of goes over people's heads. They're busy looking at things or doing things, but it's a good tool to remind people of events coming up at your church. You can stream it live, you could pre-record it and run it, but it's really making people aware of things happening, and you can use that with your streaming tool during the week, not just Sunday mornings. I've kind of combined special messages from pastors and staff. Sometimes it's good to hear something from one of the staff people, from your church, what they're doing and what they're involved in. It's again, we're talking about things you can do beyond Sunday morning here to use what you've got. You're paying for it. Let's use it as much as possible.
All right. And then the last one on the list, or
ministry and volunteer spotlight. So this one could be a deal where you want to, if you got a church, everybody, look, we know this, that volunteers are just a huge reason why churches are successful, why churches reach people while they grow. Having good staff is important, but having great volunteers is wonderful. And it's good to appreciate those volunteers. And so lots of times you'll see maybe churches spotlight a key volunteer on their website. Well, you could stream it. You could either do a video meeting the person that's the volunteer of the month. Maybe interview them very quickly. Again, this doesn't have to be a long, drawn out thing. Interview them. What's their hobbies? What do they like? Why do they do what they do? You could, if you can't get them in person, you could drop some images in, some pictures of them doing their job. So it's really just allowing the church members to see, hey, there's other people doing things behind the scenes here. You may not always see those people because they're behind the scenes, right? So when you do a ministry volunteer spotlight, it shows other people, hey, here's what's going on here, and this is why we do what we do. And so you can interview them and get their thoughts on ministry and how it's helped them and how it's helping the people. So again, something you can do that's a little different than just streaming Sunday morning. There's this thing that our friend Kenny Jong talks about. Many churches are just doing a cut and paste stream. They're just throwing a camera or two up there and they're streaming their services Sunday morning, and they think that's good enough. And the bottom line is it's not. You can do so much more with your streaming video if you just put a little bit of effort into it. Put a little bit of money into it, yeah, but more than just putting money into it, it's getting some creative ideas and putting some thought and effort into what you're doing. And a lot of this that we just talked about here wouldn't cost you a dime.
Right. All right.
Does that make sense?
We made it.
We made it, and with time to spare. So we're going to do a webinar on this. That's coming up December 8th. If you happen to hear this podcast before December 8th, you can sign up for our webinar. Just go, I don't know, where should they go? Just go to streamingchurch.tv, I guess. Is that a place they can sign up?
Sure, I don't have the link handy, but
I don't have a link. But you can go to streamingchurch.tv, and there's chat
we're there
down
to
there.
help.
If you say, hey, I want to go to the webinar, where do I sign up? Just put it in the chat box.
And we'll dig up that link for you.
Yeah, if it's midnight, we'll still get back to you. We may not be live at midnight, but we'll get back to you there. And before we close here, we again want to just remind people, if you do not have an account with streamingchurch.tv and you've listened to us for all these years, and you say, hey, they seem like a pretty good bunch of guys, we should do streaming video with them, now is your time. Create a free trial at streamingchurch.tv. And if you stream just a couple weekends at least, you get a 30-day free trial. But if you stream at least a couple weekends, stick it on your website while you stream, get some people there. We'll give your church $200, no strings attached, $200 donation to your church. I mean, the only strings are just what we just mentioned earlier. And when you go to sign up for it, you'll see it's not a big deal. It's really not. The fine print is not very fine, to be honest with you.
All right.
It's just some simple requirements. So $200 donation. Sign up if you've never done a free trial with us. And if you know somebody that could use it, pass the word on to them. So it's limited time. We're not going to do it forever. So check it out, streamingchurch.tv. Thank you, Mr. Steve Lacy.
All right. Glad to be here.
It's always a pleasure. And most of all, thank you, folks, for listening or watching our Church Solutions podcast. My name is Phil Thompson. Please take care of yourselves and each other. And until next time, have a great day.